Hey everyone, it's your girl Charnel, aka ohsolimitless. Today I'm going to share with you the expenses that I had to pay for my business last month. I thought this video would be helpful if you are considering having your own private practice, and even if you do have your own private practice, so that you can see, hey, like, are we in the same ballpark, or can there be some adjustments in the expenses that I pay for as well? So I'm going to talk about the expenses in different categories. So there are mandatory expenses that I have to cover every single month. There are also expenses that I had to pay last month only once for the whole year. And then there's also expenses that I would say are more voluntary based on what I needed to get done or wanted to get done for the previous month. So let's start off with the mandatory expenses. And right here you can see my iPad. It's just so that I can reference numbers and so that you are aware. I am not going to break everything down to the exact penny. I'm just going to round up to the nearest dollar. So something that I have to pay for on a monthly basis without a doubt so that my company can run smoothly is a platform that I use. So I use a specific platform where I upload documents for my clients, where I have the video sessions with my clients, where my clients are able to book into my calendar. All of that whole system is something that I pay for on a monthly basis. I find it easier to do that way. I also don't have to process my own invoices. It just does that for me on the system. And so on a monthly basis, I pay $65 for all of that to get done. Now, I do think the system that I use is a bit more affordable than a lot of the other services, and I found that it gets the job done for me. Now, the next price that I pay or thing that I pay for on a monthly basis is marketing. I honestly don't spend too much money on marketing, as I mentioned in some of my previous videos, or I think it was in my Q&A. For marketing, a lot of it has fortunately worked out for me, where it's either word of mouth or the therapist directory that I've used has provided new clients regularly. For the past 2 months, so January and February, it honestly has been a bit slower, but I do anticipate there being more uptake in March. We will see. Might have to spend a bit more money in marketing at that time. But as of right now, or last month, I was spending $35,000. Could you imagine? I was spending $35 for marketing. And again, that was just to cover my monthly fee for the therapist directory that I use. Now, the other expense that is a regular monthly expense is my internet bill. Of course, I run my whole private practice online, and so I have to cover the internet bill. Without internet, I don't have a practice. And so that costs $105. The other bill that I pay for on a monthly basis is my phone bill. That is actually $85. If you are paying for rent, so I'm fortunate enough to be able to have a room dedicated to my office in my home. And so I don't have an overhead rent cost. However, because I do have a mortgage, because again, I am paying utility bills in this home and I'm using portions of those bills for my office space, I can take a portion of my bills for my home and dedicate that to my business. And so through my business, I pay a portion of some utility bills, just like you would if you were to rent your own space. And so a portion of my bills as of last month was approximately, this is just like a guesstimate, $130. I actually think it would be helpful to give you guys some of these different categories. So I'm just gonna add this up real quick. So for my mandatory bills, it came up to a total of $420. The next category are things that I have to pay for in terms of requirements to be acknowledged as a therapist and for my business to be acknowledged within my governing body. And this is a fee that I paid last month, but it's not a fee I pay on a monthly basis. It's just a one-time fee. And so that's why I created a separate section for this. And so I had to renew my license as a therapist, and so that came up to $470. And then because I decided to incorporate my business, this is not something that you have to do, but speaking with my accountant, we decided at the time that incorporating was the best thing for me to do. I have to pay a renewal fee for a corporation to be run, and so that costs $665. And in order for me to actually renew it, I actually have to show a certain document that I have to get to show that my company is active, and that cost $35. In total, that is $1,170, and that covers me for a full year. I just happened to pay that amount in the last month. Now, this final category includes things that I personally choose to use or access on a monthly basis to either support myself as a therapist or to essentially enhance my business, or they're just like one-off things that I don't necessarily use on a monthly basis. So first thing on this list is supervision. If you guys watch my day in the life videos, I talk about the importance of supervision on a regular basis. And so with supervision, I see a supervisor 3 times out of the month. I have one group supervision. I no longer do my dyadic supervision, and I see a supervisor one-on-one. So in total, for all my supervision 3 times out of the month, I pay $380. And that might vary again, depending on where you are, the type of supervision that you're seeking, and how much your supervisor charges. Now, I also paid for a training, 2 trainings actually. The trainings covered a workshop, and they covered a self-paced course that I'm going to be taking up until the end of this quarter. And so that is a training. Again, it's voluntary. I didn't have to do it, but it's actually a requirement for me to offer a specific service that I want to offer through my practice, which I will keep a secret for now. One workshop was $150, and then the course that I'm taking for up until the end of the quarter was $565. Total of $715. The next thing on my list of things that I don't need but I chose to have for the past month was a bookkeeper. And so I paid this bookkeeper $150. For me, she was able to set up this new platform that I input all of my finances on, and so I actually had to pay for that software as well, whereas last year I wasn't using a software, I was just using Excel. So that platform cost $12, and that's only for this month. I think there was a promotion, but moving forward it will be a bit more pricey. I also don't know if I'll be keeping the bookkeeper on my payroll, given that she was able to set up the things for me. And again, it's pretty easy to do my finances, so I'm just probably going to try out putting in information on my own and see how that goes. If not, possibly ask her to come back on and support me on a month-to-month basis. The other thing that I had to pay for was gas. And so gas prices changes depending on how often I access or use my vehicle for my business. And so for the last month, I've used $50 worth of gas. And so that was an expense. And then I had to ship and mail something out. So I had to pay for like postage fees and like a tracking fee. That cost $16. And I had to re-up on some stationery, which cost $15. That comes up to $1,338. Now, the only thing that I am not necessarily going to share in terms of my expenses is how much I pay for my salary, and of course the taxes that I have to pay to the government based on the salary that I pay myself and based on the taxes that I would have to pay as also an employer to myself. And so you also have to factor in that you need to pay yourself and you have to pay taxes. So that is something that I highly encourage you to take into consideration when covering your expenses. So I'm going to give you a total of every single thing minus my salary and the taxes that I have to pay as an employee and as an employer. But hopefully this video has been helpful in you seeing, okay, these are potential expenses that will come up for me if I choose to open my private practice. So drum roll please. The total is $2,743 plus my salary plus the taxes I owe the government as an employee and as an employer. Okay? Do not forget that piece.
Y'all, I don't know what I was adding up while I was recording this video, but the actual total is $2,928.
So I hope this video was helpful. If you guys have any questions about anything related to the business side of being a therapist, or even just want to say hello, comment below, say what's up, ask your questions, and I'll be more than happy to answer them to the best of my ability. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.